What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here, and welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be bringing you a quick overview of all the new weapons and armor that are going to be available to you within the new Way of Winter update that is coming on October 17th. Before we get into the details, though, I got to give a big shout out to Starry Studios for sponsoring this video. They were kind enough to give me early access to a test server to allow me to get this footage ahead of time for you guys. So big thanks again to you guys for sponsoring the video. But without any further ado, let's jump into it. So we got basically two full armor sets that we got with the new update, as well as a few one-off key items, and then 4 new weapons. So the first one that I want to show you now is the purple Snow Panther set. This is what it looks like. You do a quick spin around here. And you're going to be getting these through the mysterious chest blueprints from the settlements that you're going to be clearing out in the new Way of Winter zone. And it's got some pretty unique perks. It's mainly for territory defenses and things like that, which we're going to be doing a lot of in this scenario, especially if you're within a hive and you're defending your thermal tower and things like that. So the first piece perk is torso damage reduction plus 10%. 2-piece bonus is when there's a friendly player within 10 meters, which if you're in a group will be all the time, especially if you're defending a territory, or within an allied territory, your melee status and weapon damage gets plus 8%. When you're within an allied territory and help defeat an enemy, melee status and weapon damage gets increased by 8% for 10 seconds and can stack up to 3 times. And then the 4-piece bonus is when within allied territories, so you or a hive member, 2 sentry turrets within a 5-meter radius will deal 50% more damage. So definitely a great early game set to equip when you're just starting out in the new zone and you're starting to build up your little hive territory and things like that. It's going to have some increased survivability. So not a bad little set early on. However, the legendary set is going to be a little bit better in my opinion, especially for elemental builds. So let's go over that one next. I've got it saved here. It is called the Blackstone set. So we can go ahead and equip that. And now this is what the Blackstone armor set looks like. Do a full spin around here. And the perks for this set are the 1-piece bonus is cold and heat resistance is plus 2.5. This is obviously a big deal because we're going to be dealing with extreme temperatures throughout the entire scenario, and it only gets worse as the phases go on. It's not going to be as big of a deal early game, but later game, that 2.5% can make or break whether or not you got a food item equipped type of thing. So it can definitely be beneficial just to have that passive buff. But in terms of elemental damage, it's 2-piece bonus. When dealing elemental damage, it will grant 1 stack of perception, which is elemental damage plus 2% for 2 seconds. The effect stacks 1 time every 0.5 seconds up to a maximum of 5 stacks. So that's potentially plus 10% elemental damage within a matter of a couple seconds. And when the temperature is between 10 and 30 degrees, which is going to fluctuate constantly, especially in the colder weathers and later phases of the scenario, you get an increased elemental damage of plus 18%, and you gain the warm status. And now the final 4th perk, when you have the 4-piece bonus, is at 5 stacks of perception, which we get from the 3rd tree, or the 3rd bonus. You are considered in a warm status, and when the environment is between 10 and 30 degrees, your elemental damage increases by another 7%. So that's a big boost in elemental damage. That'll be really good for frost and basically power surge or burn builds, which I would recommend running during this scenario. Plus it has built-in heat and cold resistance, so not a bad set. Even if you run something like shelter for even more increased elemental damage potentially, I would still potentially later game try and weave in at least the 1-piece to try and get that cold and heat resist bonus. So pretty cool set, and it kind of goes with the theme of the elemental temperature swings that we're going to be getting throughout the entire scenario. So that is the 2 armor sets, like the full sets that we're going to be getting. Now there is a few one-off pieces that I can go over as well. I don't believe there's anything crazy for helmets. For masks, I don't think there's anything crazy either. Chest pieces, nothing crazy here. I want to say it was just gloves and potentially legs. No, nothing here. So for gloves, we have the snow camouflage gloves. This is going to be really good for those frost vortex builds. When an ice crystal shatters, 4 additional ice missiles will launch at nearby enemies, dealing frost vortex damage of 60% psi intensity to targets hit. If you look at the new frost weapon, which I'll go over here in a minute, that will create these new ice crystals, and there's going to be a certain couple new mods as well as these gloves that kind of synergize with those really, really well. So I tend to use those in the build that I'm running with the new frost assault rifle. So that is a cool new key item for the gloves. We also have on the boots a new key item called the Fire Rune Boots. This is going to be really good for burn builds. When any target nearby is inflicted with burn, there is a 50% chance to generate a deviated particle. Picking it up increases blaze damage by 30% for 15 seconds. So huge boost to blaze damage for fire and burn builds. And this is going to be a perfect synergy with one of the weapons as well that I'm going to be talking about here in a minute. So now that we've got the key items out of the way, let's jump over to the new weapons. So for the weapons, we don't have any new pistols, but for shotguns, we've got a brand new shotgun called the Pyroclasm Starter. This one has a cool innate weapon feature. Shots have an 18% chance to trigger the burn effect. Shots have a 15% chance to generate a deviant particle, which is the same keyword that matched those fire rune boots, which can be picked up to enter a charged state. This can stack up to 4 times. Upon reloading, expend all charge stacks to add Dragon's Breath ammunition until the next reload. Dragon's Breath attacks deal blaze elemental damage equal to 80% attack burn damage bonus applies, and each charge stack expended increases your blaze damage by an additional 10%. So if you got a big magazine on these things and you use this particular shotgun, particularly with those blaze boots, those charged deviant particle stacks are going to get increased even quicker, and it can have a huge potential to do a lot of burst burn damage really, really quickly. So a really fun weapon, and I'm going to go through some different builds using this weapon right now, actually, so I can go ahead and show that off, and I'll do a quick little build demo for each of the weapons. So for this one, we can go over and learn and do my burn build here. Go ahead and equip gear. And as you can see, I'm using those burn boots. And how it works, go ahead and reload, is as you're firing, you're going to notice these little charge particles coming out. When you pick those up, it's going to give you that burn buff, and you're going to start seeing a little aura showing up around your screen, letting you know that you're getting that bonus damage. So it jumps pretty quickly. We've got terrible mods on right now. We're at 12k damage with just starter mods and starter equipment. It's not upgraded at all, not calibrated. So it's pretty cool for close range, and it's a nice, neat little mechanic that they've added with this particular gun. So that is the Pyroclasm Starter. Now, the other weapon I want to go over is going to be the purple weapon that they added for Fortress Warfare. It is called the Autumn Equinox. Trigger Fortress Warfare after 7 hits, and it has a 15-second cooldown. In the Fortress Warfare area, recover 4% of your max HP per second, and when HP is above 75%, you get a bonus 25% weapon damage. So I went and built a temporary build best I could with some Bastille armor pieces, because that's all about Fortress Warfare and getting additional weapon damage buffs. So it's not the craziest damage, but it's probably one of the best Fortress Warfare weapons that are out right now. So let's go ahead and show that off. It'll obviously have no mods, unfortunately, at the moment. I can go ahead and equip the ammunition. Should have some on me here. But you'll just notice that after a couple hits, triggers Fortress Warfare, which also heals us. It's doing burn damage right now randomly because of a mod that I mistakenly put on. But ideally, you would have a Fortress Warfare mod on here to extend that duration, give you additional weapon damage once it runs out, things like that. So it's got a pretty cool sound effect too, actually, and it's quite accurate. I don't even have any mods on it, and it's just lasering. So pretty cool weapon, and I think it's going to be a good addition to the Fortress Warfare basically lineup. There isn't too many good ones. The only ones that people typically use right now is sniper rifles. So it's going to be a cool assault rifle variant for Fortress Warfare builds. So that is the Autumn Equinox. The next weapon that I wanted to go over is going to be the new shrapnel weapon. So we can go ahead and equip that. This one is called the Conflicting Memories. It is an LMG. Trigger shrapnel every 12 hits. For every 50 magazine capacity, parts hit by shrapnel increases by 1. And then for every 15 magazine capacity in excess of 100, your shrapnel damages increase by 8%. You also get plus 40 magazine capacity. So I combined that with the beret in this test example to give shrapnel hit +1 as well. So you're going to notice as we're shooting this dummy that there's going to be a ton of bonus shrapnel parts going off, and you just have a crazy high magazine. So here we go. Let's go ahead and shoot it now. This one also has a pretty accurate fire mode and sounds pretty cool. Let me go ahead and quickly change this mod. I got that one on. Which one is giving me burn right now? That shrapnel. I think it might be because of the stacks that I had that still haven't gone away. Let's switch over to the other dummy. How about that? Yeah, I still got 4 burn stacks from the previous loadout. As you can see, just a crazy large magazine, and we just got part hits everywhere on our shrapnel procs. So nice little addition. It'll be a interesting combo comparing it to the Last Valor. So once I get on a full gameplay server and unlock this with the proper mods and proper armor, I think it has the potential to be a pretty good build, especially for sustained damage. I don't even want to know what this is going to be like. If you put the Shrapnel Souvenir mod on it, you're going to have infinite ammo. You already get it on the assault rifle, but with an LMG, it'd be even crazier. So that is the, going over to it, the Conflicting Memories LMG. And then last but not least, the other new weapon that they added is going to be a frost weapon. So we can go ahead and equip that test setup that I made. And this one is called the Silent Anabasis. This one's got some interesting perks. So shots have a 10% chance to trigger the Frost Vortex. Hitting a target with Frost Vortex generates an ice crystal, which has a 3-second cooldown. Ice crystals will automatically shatter after 15 seconds, dealing frost damage, frost elemental status damage equal to 140% psi intensity to nearby targets. Frost Vortex damage bonus applies, and ice crystals can also be shattered by shooting them, which increases the damage they deal by 420 psi intensity. So when you see these crystals pop up, you're going to want to shoot them because they'll explode and do a ton of extra damage. Additionally, frost elemental damage is increased by 20%, plus an additional 10% for every ice crystal shattered for 15 seconds, and this can stack up to 3 times. So if you combine this with a really cool mod that's being added, which is going to be on the gloves, I believe. I put it on the snow camo gloves, or no, it is the perk of the snow camo gloves. When an ice crystal shatters, 4 additional ice missiles come out. So you can kind of see how that synergizes. You're going to shoot these ice crystals and generate ice crystals with the assault rifle. Then once you shoot them, every one of those ice crystals are going to explode, doing a ton of AoE damage. And if you have these snow camo gloves equipped, every time you shatter a crystal, 4 ice missiles are going to come out on top of that and seek targets as well. So kind of chain reactions. Every time you explode one, it's going to send out more missiles. And it's kind of a cool alternative to just the additional ice spikes build with previous Frost Vortex builds. So let's go ahead and test this one out. This one also shoots like a laser. So you can go ahead and shoot it here, and you'll see how the ice crystals spawn. Then you go ahead and shoot it. Boom, big elemental explosion. And you're still getting frost vortexes. It's just not as frequent if you're going with a bigger build. So you can generate a bunch of these and just do tons of AoE damage. So pretty cool. And then you can combo this with one of the new deviations called the Ice Sprite, I believe. Snow Sprite, my apologies. And this will just do a bunch of AoE damage as well. Designated target. And he's just going to be pumping out even more. Boom, boom, boom. So frost builds are actually pretty good during this scenario. Frost and burn builds are going to be really fun. I didn't actually show it, but in the demo, so that we're doing 10k damage there. But in the demo for my silo run, I got the Eternal Sun deviation. I didn't show it off in the burn builds, but this is a really good deviation for the burn builds. Does a lot of AoE burn damage to enemies, explodes on contact when you throw it, and can actually inflict burn on you. So in combination with some unique key items that give you bonus crit rate and weapon damage when you yourself are burning, has some pretty cool synergy there. So these two deviations are going to be really good for your elemental builds this scenario, so be sure to keep an eye out for those. This one you get from Silo Delta main boss, and this one you get really early on from doing the low side quest. It was one of the first missions that he gives you when you enter the new zone, so keep an eye out for those. But yeah, that is all the new weapons and armor. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it and thought it was cool. If you did, be sure to smash that like button, comment down below. I appreciate all your guys' feedback. Also, if you want to keep up to date with my future content, I've got a bunch more videos coming out, a survival guide. I'm going in depth on the things you can do with your armor now in this scenario, and as well as some tips and tricks on how to survive the harsh temperatures a little bit more easily coming out. So be sure to keep an eye out for those notifications. But last but not least, if you want to join a killer community of like-minded gamers, feel free to check the links down in the description and join us on the Discord. We've got over 1,000 members in there now, many of which are playing Once Human. So hopefully you jump in and we see you guys around here soon. But until the next one, hope everyone has a great day, and we'll see you all later.